Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a horror film, Scare Package Part 2, Rad Chad's Revenge. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. In the first scenes, we see a flirty woman named Slut who survived her encounter with the impaler shown in the first movie. She wakes up from a nightmare and witnesses the burial of Chad, a video store owner and horror enthusiast who died during the encounter with the impaler. In addition, Chad's closest friends also attend the ceremony, but no one seems particularly interested in being there. Then, the Undertaker plays a video where Chad gives a short speech. As soon as he finishes thanking everyone for being there, they walk away. Suddenly, smoke starts coming out of Chad's coffin, triggering panic. Everyone tries to escape their shitty life, but the doors are locked. Here it becomes clear that Chad wants revenge on the partygoers. People have not enjoyed the horror enough, so now they must die. Sometime later, everyone wakes up and a video of Chad appears on the TV, suggesting that they play a game. The scene shifts to New Year's Eve 1989. A famous masked killer strangely chooses the final girls' sorority house instead of the sure-to-die sorority house next door. The girls are surprised that the killer chose them instead of easier targets, because they are usually resilient survivors. The girls are even more amazed and puzzled when the killer kills one of their shitty friends. Then one girl opens the door and discovers the killer hiding behind it. He pushes her heavy body onto a chair and wraps her greasy face in plastic wrap, just to suffocate her rather than tongue massage her. Then the other smelly girls try to leave the house and run into their cheerleader friend, who is part of the sure-to-die sorority. The killer is coming down the stairs and throwing his machete, but it hits the door. The cheerleader grabs the big knife and wounds the killer in the leg. Believing that they have mistaken themselves for the sure-to-die group, the final girls devise a plan to sacrifice the cheerleader, turning her into a final girl, while they indulge in out-of-the-blue celebrations, just as the sure-to-die sorority do. The killer rushes after the girls, but the cheerleader uses a chainsaw to cut off his hormone-let-go hand, and he escapes. After being rescued by the killer, the final girls continue to be hostile to the cheerleader according to expected customs. Then she kills a sure-to-die frat boy, who just happens to wander into the room. In the end, the cheerleader finally manages to rally the other three girls with an emotional speech about abandoning stereotypes and coming together. The girls then shut the killer out of the house to welcome the new era of the 1990s. We then learn that this is just a short film being watched by the group, who are trapped at Chad's funeral. Next, a shadowy figure says that they must use the clues in the videos to overcome the obstacles they will face. A girl thinks it is an escape room and proposes to be the project manager. She tells the others to split up into small groups, but suddenly starts vomiting toxic vomit that melts a geek's arm. The project manager's vomit sets off a chain reaction of vomiting, during which a bodyguard defends his client, an actor. The bodyguard collapses to the ground and his stomach begins to burn from the vomit. The actor tries to comfort him, but then begins to vomit in his face. As a result, the bodyguard vomits in the actor's face, and acid begins to dissolve their bodies, including the bodyguard's bulletproof muscles. Soon after, a beer pong table appears with the antidote against vomit. A chubby guy tries to play, but the geek stops him, saying it may be a trap. In the process, Slut's mother accidentally kills the project manager with her vomit. Soon after, a force field is activated, thus preventing them from crossing to the other side of the room to drink the antidotes. So they must continue the game, and Chubby pecks each cup, each with a different number. After he wins the game, the force field deactivates, and everyone drinks the antidote. A short time later, the survivors are gassed again and collapse on the floor. In the next scene, all of them are tied with a chain around their necks. Chad informs them that they will have to watch another short film from Daniel CC Movie Channel. A weird girl named Nutty is fighting against her brother, who is a ruthless masked killer. A doctor appears to tell Nutty the shocking truth about the killer, but is cut in the neck by him before he can reveal anything. Nutty awakens from her nightmare, only to find herself on a road trip with her husband. Nutty tells him that they must return to the cabin where she buried her brother, because she has a strange feeling. When they arrive at the cabin, Nutty checks her killer brother's grave, and we see that he comes back from the dead every year. She enters the house and meets the doctor, who survived the killer's attack. Again, the doctor is seriously injured by another murderer before he can reveal the truth to Nutty. He then attacks Nutty's husband from behind, stabbing him in the shoulder. Later, he pounces on Nutty, and she removes his mask and realizes he is a guy trapped in the friend zone. He confesses that he has always been secretly in love with Nutty, but she rejects him, possibly because his hormones smell bad. At that moment, the resurrected killer brother kills the guy, twists Nutty's neck, and kills her husband in one fell swoop. However, Nutty abruptly comes back to life and twists her head. At the point of death, the doctor reveals that Nutty is indestructible like her killer brother. Nutty begins to fight her brother and pushes him back into his grave, along with lit fireworks. The killer brother drags her sexy body with him into the grave, and they both burst. However, their conscious body parts recombine to form a single hybrid organism. After watching the video, Slut believes that one of them is responsible for trapping them in the silly games. Although Chad was thought to be dead, the geek believes that Chad's loyal servant, who single-handedly kept his video business afloat, is the culprit. The geek's theory is confirmed when the servant appears in a wheelchair. He states that he has been among them all along, but they have not been paying attention to him. The servant informs everyone that he is punishing them with horror-themed circumstances because they did not appreciate Chad's activity and did not take the horror genre seriously. Afterward, the room is again filled with gas, causing everyone to fall unconscious. When they awaken later, they find homemade beekeeper masks closed around their heads. The bees that the servant has implanted in everyone's mouths begin to emerge. Chad's twin brother is killed after being suffocated by bees. Slut finds the keys with which they remove the masks, but they still have the bees inside them. In the next room, the survivors find spoons of cinnamon. The Undertaker reveals that the cinnamon kills the bees, so they must ingest it to save themselves. While everyone ingests the cinnamon, the Undertaker sits and reveals that she is allergic to bee stings, so it is too late for her. Soon her head fills with bubbles, and eventually, her head explodes. Shortly after, the group are gassed again and lose consciousness. When they wake up, Chad informs them that they will have to watch another horror short film from Daniel CC Movie Channel. A group of girls help their friend, Zoe, pack up her dead brother's belongings in the lighthouse where he lived. Zoe's brother told her to keep his belongings, but warned her to stay away from them. Nevertheless, the 5 girls decide to watch a video left by Zoe's brother. Observing the mysterious figure, they notice blades instead of arms, and then the video ends. A girl starts taking pictures, and then in the kitchen, she finds a fly in the picture that was not there before. Frightened, she drops her phone, from which a bizarre figure spawns. The other girls arrive, but everything seems back to normal. Later that night, Zoe continues to examine the tape alone. Using the VCR remote control to adjust playback, Zoe unwittingly ends up controlling a supernatural killer with swords for arms. Initially, the killer stabs a girl in the bathroom. After that, another girl wakes up to find her friend decapitated. Terrified, she flees from the room, but the killer catches up with her and kills her right in front of a girl in her pajamas. When the tape stops playing, the killer suddenly disappears. Then Zoe continues the regular playback, and initially, the killer stabs the girl in pajamas in the back. But when Zoe rewinds the tape, the killer also goes back in time. Finally, the girl in pajamas manages to paranormally drag the killer into the TV with her. Zoe sees that her 4 friends and her brother have joined the killer as shadow images on the tape. After the film, the servant pops out of the TV and shows off his Freddy Krueger-like hands. The servant informs them that one of them must take a video camera and go to a dark room to look for the key that will free them from the chains. If they succeed, they will stay alive. If not, they will be skinned alive. The servant then randomly chooses Slut's mother as the cameraman and begins the adventure. Slut's mother ventures into the dark room and begins to be chased by a frightening creature. Suddenly, Chubby is being skinned alive, only because the servant has decided to do so. When Slut's mother finally finds the key, she returns to the others and frees them from their chains. But then, she is torn apart in front of everyone. The servant claims he did it because the slut offended him, saying he is a loser who still lives with his mother. Then, the survivors are gassed again and lose consciousness. They then wake up in a replica of Chad's Horror Emporium video store with devices around their necks. Chad informs them that they will watch another horror movie and then disappears without traces of his hormones. A writer recounts the summer of 1993 when he and his childhood friends discovered a dead body in the woods. The girl named Ginger pulls out her father's stolen gun as a precaution, scaring the others. A child prodigy has a makeshift lab full of experimental equipment where the 4 friends take the body. The child prodigy reanimates the body using a special serum, only for Ginger to shoot the man right in the head. They decide to try again to resuscitate him, but this time they tell Ginger not to shoot. The man comes back to life, and as the children try to talk to him, he bites and rips off 2 of the child prodigy's fingers. Ginger starts to shoot him, but accidentally hits their friend, Chunky, in the ear. Then the man attacks the children and kills Chunky before Ginger can decapitate him with a sword. Next, the friends attempt to bring Chunky back to life and reconstruct his body using the cabin built by the child prodigy. However, a cat slips inside the cabin, resurrecting Chunky as a human-feline hybrid. Chunky returns home to dine with his stunned mother and sister, now in possession of 8 more lives. After the film, the surgeon informs the group that he has attached bombs to their necks, and in 90 seconds, they must guess which 4 movies have inspired him to create this kind of escape room. Then, as if that were not enough, the servant summons the Impaler to kill everyone. The Impaler throws a knife at Slut and cuts off her hand. Slut hides and covers the wound with cloth. The Impaler approaches the geek and prepares to kill him with an axe, but Chubby stops him with a knife, after which he runs away. The Slut finds the first horror movie and throws it to Chubby to insert into the DVD. In that way, Chubby is saved and the device around his neck is deactivated. Slut tells the others to look for the other 3 films while she distracts the Impaler. Then the servant appears and tries to close the only way out, but Slut runs toward him and avoids the Impaler, who tries to hit her with a bat. In the process, she takes the machete from the geek and hits the servant in the eye, causing his wheelchair to slide backward down the stairs. Then the quiet girl finds the second film and her device deactivates. The geek finds the third film, but the Impaler fires a dart at him and stuns him. Slut removes the dart from his neck, and the geek tells her to use the film he found to save herself. The geek lures the Impaler to kill him, and when time runs out, they both explode. As the others run away, the Impaler, who survived the explosion, gets up and goes after them. Slut closes the way out, but they are once again gassed to lose consciousness. They wake up in what appears to be the funeral parlor. Suddenly, Chad, who's still alive, emerges from his coffin. To everyone's surprise, the quiet girl admits that she has been secretly dating Chad all along and that the two were planning the events, including Chad's fake death. When Slut and Chubby try to make sense of these discoveries, Chad and his girlfriend lock them inside and begin a new chapter in their lives. Chad and his girlfriend then drive away, along with another guy and the Impaler. Apparently, Slut and Chubby are still alive and most likely will not die so easily, triggering the new cycle of revenge. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.